Time was passing. The age of canals was ending and the train would rule the landscape. But came the highway, the automobile, the fall of big steel, and many trains would not survive. Two of them, the Western Maryland and the Pittsburgh and Lake Erie, would leave behind a gentle passage through the Allegheny Mountains. Over the last few decades, dedicated volunteers and grassroots organizations have stitched together one amazing journey, the ride of your life, the Great Allegheny Passage. Cumberland's historic past is celebrated in its architecture and in its arts. And it is embodied by the fabulous Western Maryland Scenic Railroad that runs here from May through December. There she is, a 1916 Baldwin 280. They call her Mountain Thunder, and number 734 has got to be one of the hardest working steam locomotives on the East Coast. And for about a third of today's 44 miles, she joins us on our journey westward. But first, let's stop by the Queen City Creamery over on Harrison Street, where it's always a great idea to start your day right. Every epic ride should begin with a big breakfast like this. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Out of Cumberland, it's a great thing to know that we're going to get all of our climbing done on the first day. In fact, the first 24 miles. So come on, let's see if we can beat the train to Frostburg.
Have a great ride.
Hey, just 4 miles from town, we passed by the Bone Cave. First explored in 1912, fossilized bones from the Pleistocene epoch were discovered here. The Smithsonian Institute now permanently displays the skeletons of a cave bear and a saber-toothed tiger. So very important to get to the other end of the 834-foot-long brush tunnel, because you'll want to be sure to get out your camera for this awesome sight. Part ways with the train here, but don't worry, we'll cross paths again at mile 15. At the restored train depot, you can check out the marvelous Thrasher Carriage Museum and find comfort at the Trail Inn, known for its lodging, camping, and snackage. And of course, don't miss the turntable. It's definitely worth the short climb up into Frostburg. There's historic Hotel Gunter, where you can check out the honest-to-God jail in the basement. Across the street, visit Princess Restaurant. Owner George Pappas can show you the Truman booth, where President Harry Truman had lunch with his wife Bess back in 1953. Main Street in town sports the perfect hill for its annual Soapbox Derby Day, every July 4th for over 30 years. Independent coffee shop Mountain City occupies the site of what was once the local memorial mason. You know, headstones. Back down at the trailhead, these nifty kiosks are excellent high-tech resources for the two-wheel traveler. The Borden Tunnel at 957 feet is a little bit longer than the Brush Tunnel, but no train. Here at the famous Mason-Dixon line, with one giant step, you can cross from Maryland into Pennsylvania. And I don't know if yins be able to tell the difference between the north side and the south side. And at just a mile and a half up the trail, you get a little payoff for all the climbing you've been doing. This vista is a favorite photo opportunity spot, and you can see all the way back to Cumberland. 7 miles as the crow flies and 22 by bike. It's called the $12 million view because it costs that much to connect through to the next marvel on our journey, the Big Savage Tunnel. Well, it was built in 1911, and at 3,300 feet, it's so long that it's often 10 degrees cooler on the inside than it is on the outside. Back in 2003, it was renovated for $12 million using some very ingenious mooring and drainage techniques. In fact, to keep it protected from the extreme weather, it's closed off in the wintertime. Something you might want to keep in mind when you're planning your trip. Just another mile and a half up from the tunnel. Congratulations, we've topped out. We're at the highest point of our journey, the Eastern Continental Divide. Enjoy the marvelous work of artist Wayne Fetro. He immortalizes the Passage's spirit, depicting the railways, the coal, coke, and steel workers. A tribute to George Washington's vision of a passage from the Chesapeake to the Ohio River Valley. The C&O Canal, which anchors one end of the Great Allegheny Passage. And of course, all of the volunteers who made this great passage possible. Pay attention to the bridge detail here. We'll see it again soon. This is the place of watershed delineation. Say what? So what that means is that a rubber ducky placed in a stream on this side of the Eastern Continental Divide would end up in the Atlantic Ocean. And on this side, why, it would float on down to the Gulf of Mexico. Up ahead is the amazing Keystone Viaduct, 910 feet long and curving 100 feet over Flaherty Creek. And, well, you know, some moments are just too perfect. This iron bridge, the Bowman Bridge, was moved here from a farm road in 2007. It's fashioned of cast and wrought iron by the famous Wendell Bowman. Remember the murals at the Eastern Continental Divide? There's that bridge detail. If you ever ride the C&O Canal, there's a Pony Pratt type Bowman Bridge over in Williamsport, Maryland. At mile 32, it's time for a stop. In 1874, Myers Mill and Dale City merged to become Myersdale, a beautiful town in the middle of paradise. This town is famous for its springtime Pennsylvania Maple Festival. And just to make our visit to Myersdale official, we'll stop by Floyd's place to sign the journal.
We started the journals in 2001. Since 2001 to present, we have probably ran into somewhere between 5 to 1,000 new friends and neighbors from all over the world. Not just the U.S., but all over the world. Australia, Belgium, Africa, Netherlands, France, Canada, Alaska. That's just a few off the top of my head without even looking at the journal.
The Salisbury Viaduct, 101 feet high, 1,908 feet long, built in 1911 at the cost of 7 lives. Some things are just too big to be seen from the ground. Named for the two most prevalent objects in the area, Rockwood is a welcome port in a sea of beauty and history. The Rockwood Opera House is just that, an opera house, and an ice cream parlor, pizza place, tanning salon. Rock City Cafe is a local favorite, a tasty menu complete with deep-fried pickles. There are several bed and breakfasts in the area, and one right at the trailhead has its own bike shop. It's run by the Sanner family, a name which is well known in these parts. That's Lynn Sanner right there. The man honored on the Rockwood Trail Town mural is Maynard Sembauer. He turned 100 on Christmas Eve 2008, and he left us 9 months later. At the Sembauer Visitor Center, he was always happy to chat with you, a true trail ambassador.
They're on special today, boys, 2 for 15. Okay. Also, we have caps.
In the fall of 2008, I filmed Maynard, and he graced me with a glimpse of his wit and charm.
Welcome to Rockwood. I'm 99 years old. I watch the trains come in and watch the trains go out. Now I watch the girls ride in and the girls ride out. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning. Things got really frosty last night, so be sure to pack all the right clothes for any kind of weather. Read up about the trail. There's some excellent websites out there. The Trail Book is a fantastic resource, but be sure to leave a little bit of room for adventure and surprise in your day. Today's destination, Connellsville. Let's go. Just a few miles up the trail, we find Markleton. There's not much here now, but 100 years ago in its boom days, the world's largest paper pulp mill stood here. The only structure left is this rustic old house that is being turned into a modern bed and breakfast. After the mill, the huge Markleton Sanitarium was built on the site. It touted its location as healthy and safe from malaria and mosquitoes. Alas, it's gone now too. Just up from Markleton is the Pinkerton Low Bridge over the Castleman River. Point of Light magazine from up Pittsburgh way says that this area here is a vortex. That's a place of harmonic convergence, sort of like Sedona, Arizona, or Stonehenge in England, or even Machu Picchu. I must admit, there is a very special feel to this place, a certain magnetism, a kind of resonance. The pools of water are very, very mesmerizing. I feel uplifted and transported. Yes, high above the end of the Pinkerton Tunnel. A mile and a half around the Pinkerton Horn. Hey, there's the marvelous Pinkerton High Bridge. You don't want to miss that view. It's not bad from up here either. Ah, there's the scenic town of Confluence, where mountains touch rivers. There is a certain turkey foot shake to the area, and that's what this place was called even when George Washington visited here in 1754. It's created by the confluence of 3 rivers, the Youghiogheny River, the Castleman River, and the Laurel Hill Creek. Yonder up in the right-hand corner is the Youghiogheny Dam. Yough River sets the pace of life here in this charming village. Long a trail favorite, the River's Edge Cafe and Bed and Breakfast calls the traveler to rest and relax by the banks of the Yough. It also has a reputation for excellent dining, everything from light fare to gourmet meals. Lodging is another thing that Confluence has very well covered. There's the lovely Parker House, the Confluence House, the house at Confluence, and that damn Yough House. In addition to lodging and antique shops, the cyclist can find an excellent bike shop and my personal favorite diner, Sister's Cafe. This area is also famous for the Youghiogheny Dam. Providing flood protection for Pittsburgh, the lake behind it goes on for 16 miles, well into Maryland, and it is renowned for its boating and fishing. Well, it's time to saddle up and head on out for more adventure as the autumn colors paint the trees. The next 10 miles will deliver us through Ramcat and the Laurel Ridge. Again, the venerable remains of the Western Maryland Railroad guide us gently through one of the few remaining ridges of the Alleghenies. This part of the trail has a beauty and a majesty that is just breathtaking. I'm certain that you're going to take home cherished memories that will last a lifetime. Oh, and take a lot of photos too. At mile 72, we ride into the ever-popular Ohiopyle, also known as Falls City. There are plenty of fun, fine dining spots, places to rent bikes and canoes, or plan a rafting trip. And the area has the proud distinction of hosting two of Frank Lloyd Wright's architectural masterpieces. And here's where I got the inside scoop from the lovely and charming Stacy Faust of the Ohiopyle State Park.
Ohiopyle State Park is over 20,000 acres of rugged, scenic beauty right here in the heart of the Laurel Highlands. Our yearly visitation is about 1.5 million visitors who come here for a variety of reasons, including camping, backpacking, cross-country skiing, snowmobiling, whitewater rafting, and mountain biking. And of course, the wonderful Great Allegheny Passage, 28 miles of which pass right through the heart of Ohiopyle State Park. One of the brightest highlights of our park is, of course, Ohiopyle Falls. Their spectacular 20-foot drops offer an amazing photo opportunity. Here you see how the low bridge crosses over the neck of Ferncliff Peninsula at just 30 feet above the river. And here are the spectacular Ohiopyle Falls. The Youghiogheny River continues on for 1.7 miles, and in that short space, over 6 major Class 3 rapids, until amazingly it returns within just a quarter mile of itself at the High Bridge. Here, the High Bridge is now 110 feet over the water. You'll be passing through the last ridges of the Alleghenies. The Alleghenies are amongst the oldest mountains on the planet. The 17 miles between Ohiopyle and Connellsville really are the last stretch of wilderness as you continue on your journey.
Well, with the Laurel Ridge behind us, we're now riding through the beautiful Chestnut Ridge. You know, traveling west, there are no more ridges like this until you reach the foothills of the Rockies. One source told me that you won't find another hill of this height until Nebraska. Imagine that. This is John Ehrman in the Gap Traffic Chopper. Passage Cam is showing light traffic today on the Gap between miles 72 and 88. We're getting reports of good moods with hints of excitement in the atmosphere. And the forecast is for many more pleasant days ahead. Stay tuned for further updates. When you see the Four Seasons mural painted on the sides of these silos, you've found Connellsville. This is a place where Native American crossroads met the commerce of the Western newcomers, and was quite naturally the center of the coal and coke industry. An excellent bike shop greets you right in the heart of town. And it's worth exploring Youghiogheny Station. This fine art glass outlet resides in a 1911 Pennsylvania and Lake Erie train station that is listed in the National Register. Well, I have a keen interest in finding dinner right about now, and I found many choices on both sides of the Youghiogheny River. If you cross the 119 bridge, you explore the many fine establishments. Lodging is a little bit limited in Connellsville, and I would definitely check into the Allegheny Trail Alliance website as you plan your trip. It's easy to see why everyone falls in love with this trail. The sights, the sounds, the natural beauty. What more can a traveler ask for? So come on, let's get some rest. Tomorrow's another beautiful day. Good morning. I hope you slept well because we got about 60 miles to go to get into Pittsburgh. It's a good thing we got all our climbing done on the first day. We're going to be passing through the heart of the American Industrial Revolution. Coke and steel built this country. Let's take a little ride through time. We're riding into the land where the big names played. The Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, William Henry Clay Frick. Their fortunes were won and lost in the exploitation of the natural resources. the coal, the iron, the steel, and in the shipping of the finished products. Just outside the town named after Henry Frick's wife, Adelaide, look out for these coke ovens on the hillside. At its peak, there were once 40,000 of them in the area. So what is coke? Well, around here, coke is a product made from coal, and it burns hotter than coal ever could. And when you want to make steel, things really got to be hot. At mile 94, Dawson beckons us across the bridge to explore its historic past. It was the center of the coal and coke empire of Big and Little Jim Cochran and Philip G. Cochran. It's worth the trip across the bridge to see the lovingly restored and maintained homes, and even the original Washington Bank building holds court right in the center of town. Just imagine the wealth that must have passed through this vault. Here at mile 102, Perryopolis is way up the hillside to our left, and there's this very dangerous one-lane bridge that crosses over into Layton. In Layton, some of the pivotal final scenes from the 1991 hit movie Silence of the Lambs were shot here. Fava beans. That's the banding trestle towering 160 feet over your head. And here at mile 106 at Van Meter, I ran into trail steward Dave Hamilton.
There was a disaster at Darmine up here in 1907, December the 19th, where 230 miners were killed. It would have been more on this one here, it had not been St. Nicholas's Day at the Orthodox Church. Some of them had gone to church that day. Right up there is an opening where you can look down in to see where the main tunnel went to run down in this direction here. There is also that cement platform there that was used as a repair shop. There was also a track came out, dumping station that went over top of the track here, in which they loaded the coal on. I got a picture of that for you if you want it. As a result of that explosion, they changed their law on the mine safety lamp they used to examine the gas with.
Back on the trail at mile 110, Cedar Creek Park offers a very fine snack shop that's inside the replica train station. The hidden gem on the passage is the town of West Newton. The not so hidden gem here in West Newton is the trail side, a perfect place to rest up and get ready for the rest of your ride. It's a favorite stop for lunch, and introduce yourself to the distinguished owners, John Markle and Rod Darby. A handy-dandy full-service bike shop exists right below the restaurant. I happily obtained a very hard-to-find part for my bike inside their excellent establishment. It is recommended that you cross Main Street in front of the 100-year-old bridge very carefully. There's a lot of traffic there. And just past that, we highly recommend stopping at the West Newton station. Inside, you will find dedicated volunteers ready and eager to help you with trail and tourist info, trail maps, and there's lots of Gap logo items for purchase. I know, I just stocked up on chocolate, but that's for later. Right now, an ice cream break is in order. The Yak Twister is a welcome oasis of ice cream in a stretch of otherwise no ice cream desert. Okay, it's a rolling break this time. Now here's something you just have to see, the Red Falls. Acid mine drainage created this distinctive iron red waterfall. Is it me or do you see the faces in the falls? And just 3 miles up the trail, what is this? The story is that the white waterfall is caused by some sort of aluminum drainage. First a red waterfall, now a white waterfall. Let's go find the blue one. Just past Little Boston is a beautiful wildlife preserve with a very unusual name. Say, there's that spooky music again. This place was once a thriving industrial area. In the last 125 years, there have been at least 4 mysterious deaths here. Hangings, drownings, shootings, and even unfortunate elevator accidents. The place must be haunted. Well, boy, I think it's time to change the music and get on down the trail. McKeesport. Here is where the Youghiogheny River meets the Monongahela. Monongahela means falling banks. The original Native American name was Mekmenawangahela. Folks around here just call it the Mon. We'll be following the Mon from here on in to Pittsburgh. Be sure to follow the gap signs and directions here. It's very easy to miss a turn. I ought to know. A quick turn off the main road and you're in a sort of an industrial area that parallels the train tracks and the river. It takes you right up to the wonderful Riverton Bridge. This beautiful bridge, the Riverton Bridge, gets us from the east side of the Monongahela to the west side for the next 1.5 miles. The bridge and the Duquesne Tunnel were recent additions to the Great Allegheny Passage in late 2009, and they take us right up to the currently unfinished section of our journey. I was granted the opportunity to show you a preview of the currently off-limits area. The Allegheny Trail Alliance obtained this right-of-way with the abandonment of U.S. Steel's Coke gas line. Kennywood's roller coaster looms over our backs and we can look across to the Edgar Thomson Works. The ET Works are the last integrated steel plant in the valley, the last blast furnaces in Pennsylvania. Near this spot, in 1755, Major General Edward Braddock crossed the Mon bent on attacking French and Indian forces at Fort Duquesne. His bloody defeat that day would rock world politics. His dying words, "We will better know how to fight them next time." The area known as Homestead holds special meaning for unionized America. On July 6, 1892, the Amalgamated Association of Iron and Steel Workers Union clashed with the Pinkerton agents hired by Carnegie Steel to lock out the union. It was violent and tragic and resulted in a broken union. The Homestead Labyrinth by artist Lorraine Vullo peacefully honors the men and women whose lives were dedicated to the iron and steel industry. Back on the open part of the trail, when you ride by this sculpture, you've arrived at the south side and the Hot Metal Bridge. Definitely take time to explore the wonderful south side community. A stroll down famous East Carson Street reveals a fascinating mix of the old with the new, the hip and the hot. Modern architecture next to historic old neighborhoods. There are 2 incline trolleys on the hillside that lead up to other cool neighborhoods and spectacular views of the city. Heck, I'll tell you right now, after my ride, I'm coming back here to celebrate. The Hot Metal Bridge was built in 1901 and was used to transport molten iron from the north side to the south side, and steel ingots came back for rolling and finishing. To much fanfare, it was open for trail use in November of 2007. Across the Hot Metal Bridge, we turn left and follow the Eliza Furnace Trail for our last 3 miles of the Great Allegheny Passage. Those in the know tell about a very special passage feature. It's called Trail Magic. Perhaps out there you run into old friends that you haven't seen in a really long time, or a total stranger offers you a granola bar just when you need it, or a mare and her colt frolic for your camera at just the right moment. Over the course of riding this wonderful trail, I have experienced it many times. I hope you have the opportunity to come out and find it too. Whether you ride it in little pieces or you tackle the new American classic from Pittsburgh to DC, just get your wheels on the ground, grab an extra granola bar, and get on out here. Hey, we've made it to Pittsburgh, Steel Town, City of Bridges, City of Champions. Well, I want to thank all of the hundreds of volunteers and all the grassroots organizations that came together to make this trail happen. I mean, you guys have created something truly remarkable. Thank you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I've enjoyed riding it. Until next time. Hey, there's the blue waterfall.